Hello, friends. Recently we heard the speech of our Prime Minister talking about the Lockdown 2.0. Yesterday guidelines were released on how the Lockdown 2.0. There are certain measures, certain ease of activity being introduced, and how activities can be performed. So. Within that, first of all, we need to understand the segregation government has done across all the 727 districts in terms of red zones, orange zones, and green zones. Red ones, as the name suggests, are the most hotspots, in fact, with most of the pandemic cases. And we have somewhere around 170 districts defined under red zone. Then we have near about 200 districts which is falling under orange zone, which is a potential hotspot. And then the green zones, the remaining 350 districts, those are where there have been no cases. So now the government with this segregation is applying new guidelines, offering new guidelines for the businesses to come and operate. Uh, so if we see the red zones are definitely not, there need to be proper containment and supply of services and all goods needs to be very in a very strategic manner and only essential goods, food and associated products will be delivered. So things like that. Whereas orange zones are somewhere in between, and if they prove to be good, then more relaxation can be offered. Whereas the green zones, most of the activities can be not most, but a few activities like agrarian economy, rural economy, most of the parts under green zone are rural districts. So their economic activities can start, and the nation survives on the agrarian activities. So all the agrarian activities, they have been performing in a slow pace, and they have been further east to work and produce more food grains and everything. And keeping in mind the harvesting season of Rabi is in the process, a lot of products are to be sold and brought to urban centers and towards the consumer from farm to fork. So for these things to expedite movement of products, perishables and everything, relaxations have been introduced further. Even some activities in orange zone and red zone can be done related to agrarian economic activities. Now, beyond that, manufacturing firms are also given some relaxation of work shift up to 12 hours per day with a limited workforce of near about 25%, I believe. And there has to be social distancing norms, and the people who are working in that unit will have to stay in the vicinity of that plant or within the plant so that the virus cannot spread out if at all it is there identified. Now, these things are definitely there. However, within the red zones, manufacturing activities are not allowed. It's only for the green and somewhere uh, orange zone. Most of it is left to the local administration and state administration to decide upon. Now, there have been valid questions from the industry experts, and for instance, RC Bhargav, Mr. RC Bhargav, the chairman of Maruti Suzuki, asked the government that is it necessary that within the entire hot zone, within the entire hotspot, there can be sub pockets where there's no virus. And if a factory is lying in that particular pocket, then should we allow it or not? So these are the questions being posed by the industry, and more pressure is definitely from the industry side for opening of the lockdown. And the government is listening to these, and these are all happening in real time. The government is thinking out on how to best mitigate the economic crisis which is mounting up with every day of lockdown. And post 20th April, more relaxation is expected so that more and more economic activities can be revived within the country. So a lot is to be seen, and we need to understand that our healthcare system is not that adequate, and even none of the healthcare system across the world, to control this pandemic if it expands unconditionally within the nation. So we need to strengthen the healthcare system, and we need to be careful on the containment strategy. Now, the government is walking on a thin line with this decision, and I believe the industry players, they are supporting well. And the prime minister is constantly in his speech talked about that there will be an economic hit, but we need to be alive first to work and enjoy the life. So that message is very clear. So there's no confusion in the mind of the government, and I believe the industry players should as well embrace it as quickly as possible in the best way. And it is expected that even after 3rd May, a lot of lockdown will continue in terms of a phased, staggered opening of the economy is expected to be seen, because the numbers of the virus and the death rate is not at all under control. It is still present there, and a drastic bad decision cannot be taken out of such pressure. So a lot is to be seen, and we all need to think on it together and come out with a solution which is workable. For instance, work from home have worked very effectively for many industries, and that is something which will be a new norm for India as well as the world in the post-pandemic period. So these things are there, and these things will be appreciated further as well. So, for instance, the IT firms which have received a relaxation of bringing a workforce up to 50% to the company and doing the services and all. Now, in that context, firms like Tech Mahindra and Infosys and others, they can leverage this and bring their employees back, but still they are waiting for a more permanent change, and they don't want to risk their employees as well, and neither do the employees are that comfortable, and they are working well from home. So that is working out for these companies, and overall things economy is coping up in this pandemic era. So let's be together on this, and let's see how things will unfold. Thank you.